Because one thing I notice about coaching is that sometimes I want it more than the player wants it for themselves. And that doesn't work. I can't want it more than you. And sometimes it's really unfortunate, but I do. Because there are players who could go so far, but they don't want to.
This is Coach to Coach, where we talk junior basketball coaching in a relaxed, practical way. I'm Jace, and these are your fast break chats. Let's get into it.
All right, so it's with absolute great pleasure that I have Riley Parkinson with me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's this one came together pretty quickly. Sometimes conversations, making things happen takes months.
Yeah.
But we just jumped onto it, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, of course. Thank you.
We'll launch straight into it. How long have you been coaching for now?
I've been coaching for 3 years and 2 days. It was actually 3-year anniversary of coaching the other day.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that just coaching at athletes, or had you been you've been playing for longer than that, obviously?
Yeah, I've been playing for a lot longer, but no, hadn't coached or trained anyone until 3 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Awesome. What teams are you currently working with? And I know it's a slightly shifty question.
Yeah, so I'm not working with any teams specifically. I don't coach an actual team.
Yep.
But I run my facility, and we have multiple different kids come in, run group sessions and privates. Yep. So work with a bunch of different kids from different clubs.
Okay. Why do you coach?
That's a great question.
I'm actually keen to hear the answer for this one for you.
See, now I would say that I coach because I enjoy, number one, hanging out with the kids.
Yeah.
Right. I get along with them.
Young at heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think I love seeing the progression and being able to make an impact. So a kid that can't even dribble the ball, and then I can teach them how to do reverse layups behind the backs, all that kind of stuff, and seeing it transform in even an hour session. Yep. That's the highlight.
Yeah. I can understand I've spoken to enough coaches now to know what that feels like and what that looks like from my own coaching perspective. So it's definitely a common theme, but I love it. Was there someone along your journey so far that's had an influence on how you coach?
Absolutely. Yes. So when I first started coaching, I really only knew the stuff that I knew. The stuff that
used over, that you'd been coached.
Yeah. The stuff I'd been coached with, the stuff I did as a player, my workouts. But then only 2 to 3 weeks into coaching, I actually flew to America to do an internship with a trainer over there. And that was a phenomenal experience. Yeah. I lived over in San Diego for 3 months, trained 7 days a week.
So good.
Yeah. So Ryan Rizuki definitely had a massive influence on the way that I coach.
Yeah.
And since being back from there, obviously, I built upon it, added my own flavor and stuff like that. But yeah, he definitely provided the building blocks for my coaching.
Brilliant. And do you have a favorite player at the moment, a favorite professional player?
Professional player? I mean, in the NBA, obviously, Steph Curry is the most fun to watch. But my favorite professional player in Australia right now is Ryan Philippi, who I coach.
Yep.
So he plays NBA 1 at Keilor. And I just love working with him.
Yeah.
Right. So we've been working together for about 2 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost 2 years.
Yep.
And seeing the progression he's made, going from youth league to now NBA 1, starting some games, having some great games. That's been awesome.
I think Keilor's playing Nunawading today.
I believe so.
Down in Nunawading.
Yeah.
That was. I think the girls were in there training this morning when we were there. So very cool. Close to heart. There you go. All right. So I guess today one of the topics that I thought would be really great to cover, given your background and your experience, and I guess the level of players that I won't say majority work with, but you have the opportunity to work with, I guess about how we can take that next step, that next level. I'm a domestic coach at the moment, and I know what my capacity is as a coach. I do what I can with what I have. But I think there's a whole bunch of young or youth team coaches out there that might be doing their thing, coaching, season after season, but would have interest to say, well, all right, what's the next step? What's the next level?
Yep.
So I guess whilst you're not necessarily talking specifically to how coaching changes from domestic to rep, I'm using it as an example of what a stepping stone might be.
Yep.
Because I know there's philosophy changes in terms of domestic versus rep. You've got different expectations of the clubs. You've got different expectations of the families, and I guess even different levels of enthusiasm for the game. Right. What I want to look at today, what I'd love to pick your brain on is what sort of practical steps can coaches use and tactics to take enthusiastic players. Let's assume it's players that want to improve their game. What are some things that they can do to really, take that next step in terms of coaching and say, okay, I'm making some pretty serious impact here.
Yep.
On these young players, because at the end of the day, like you said in the questions, that progression is what we want, and I know I could definitely benefit from this. So if I can, I'm pretty sure there are other people that can benefit from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, can you kick us off with something that you see would be beneficial in terms of taking a coach from that, Saturday morning, game and hoping for the best to really starting to make an impact?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is, I'll talk from a trainer perspective first. Yeah. So it's about finding one kid and developing them to the point where almost they're better than how you can coach. So if I can coach up to 12-year-olds before I start to struggle and before I know what I'm doing, all right, getting that 10-year-old up to that skill level. And then from there, I need to find ways to adjust my coaching that are going to still force improvements on them.
Yeah, okay.
Right. One thing I like to ask kids and ask parents is, what do you suck at? Right. And identifying, it's a very hard question to answer as a kid or even as a parent, but identifying that and then building your coaching and your philosophy and your workouts around that is the biggest thing.
See, nugget dropped already for me because I've got a season starting in a couple of weeks. I haven't done my coach's kickoff message to the group yet.
Yep.
You know what one of the questions is going to be now, don't you?
Yeah. What do you
suck at?
Yep.
I love that. Oh, brilliant.
So it's like, it's a pretty funny question.
Yeah, it's great.
Right? But kids struggle to answer it. And then I'll watch them for 5 minutes and I can already name 20 things that you suck at. Right. And it's not an insult. It just is what it is.
It is.
All right, but if you can develop players and then find their tendencies, find what they suck at, find what they need improvement, and find the areas which they also excel, then you can build and mold workouts and training sessions around that. And if you can do that with one player, you just need to multiply that by however many you've got in your group or your training session in your team.
Yeah.
And then the more you work with players and the different types of players you get, you're going to get better at finding different strategies, because I might have two 12-year-old boys who can't make left-hand layups. But when I say, I don't know, flick your wrist a little bit more, jump a little bit higher, or whatever it may be, that might resonate and work with one kid, but not with the other.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas the other kid, I might have to, yell at and say, touch it with your right hand, you have to go home. Right? Something like
different
that.
Different approaches.
You have to have different approaches. And the more you coach, the more ages, the boys, girls, right, professional players, rep players, domestic players, kids with ADHD, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You learn how to adjust your style of coaching to the player.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So you've mentioned a couple of things in there, focusing on what their weaknesses are. What are some things to look out for? And I really am drilling down into the details here, because essentially in my mind, what you've done is taken the skills development and split it up.
Yep.
You're not sort of saying a high level, all right, we're going to work on our basketball game. What are some things that come to mind which probably roll off the tongue easily for you in normal conversation?
Yep.
But let's for a second assume that you've got these coaches that do want to take that next step, myself included, for example, and say left-handed dribbles or left-handed layups or whatever. Can you unpack a few things that how you see the game divided up?
Yep. So first thing is that I believe every single player, no matter what age, boy, girl, professional, domestic, beginner, they need to be able to do three things. They need to be able to use both hands for finishing at the rim, dribbling and passing.
Okay.
They need to be able to deal with contact and create contact, whether that's defensively or offensively.
Yep.
And they need to be able to shoot the ball. don't need to be Steph Curry. You don't need to be shooting step back threes. But if you've got a decent jump shot where you can knock down an open mid-range shot or an open three, I think they're the three things that you have to build upon.
Yep.
When I first start my training sessions, especially privates, the first thing I like to identify is, can you do ball and foot timing? Meaning, can you dribble the ball at the same time that you step with the opposite foot? And if you can do that and then take 2 steps or 1 step into your layup, okay, perfect. Now I know that you can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Now we can build upon that. Now we can do that while adding different moves. Splitting into a through the legs rather than anchoring into a through the legs.
Okay.
Like how we plant our feet to do different moves or different finishes.
Yes.
Getting into jump shots, all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, you're a skills trainer.
Yep.
For the most part. And we've talked in previous episodes about the difference between skills development and game day strategy.
Yep.
It was episode 2. And I think that's where there really is quite a difference in terms of coaching. Is there anything you could suggest so you've got the ability to do that skills training because you've played the game extensively.
Yep.
Is there anything that comes to mind that would help a less experienced, like myself, for example, teach some of these skills-based work?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's a curly question.
It's hard because to a certain extent you need to understand the game.
Yes.
But I mean, if I boil it down to basics, and this is talking in definites, and the game isn't in absolute certainties, but if you're going left, dribble with your left hand. If you're going right, dribble with your right hand. If you're finishing at the rim on the left side, use your left hand. If you're passing and let's say I'm facing away and the defender's on my right hip, don't pass it with your right hand. Pass it with your left hand, the hand that's furthest away from the defender.
Yeah, okay.
Simple things like that. But I think in terms of like building a smooth, structured training session, it's hard to do that and pinpoint different skills because you've got one kid who struggles with listening, one kid who's on the floor dancing around, one kid who's there motivated to get better because they want to make the rep team. Right? It's hard to do that with that kind of group, but the way to do it is by including lots of different skills in the one drill.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of the stuff we do here is a left-hand pass into a dribble handoff, into a between the legs, into a right-hand layup. And then after you make the right-hand layup, you need to do a dribble pull-up.
And so you'll have one kid that nails 3 of those things.
Yep.
And bollockses up the last bit. And then you'll have another kid who does the rest of it.
Exactly right.
But on repetition, though, you can start to smooth those edges out.
And that way, like, we've got a kid who can shoot the ball really well, but he can't make a left-hand layup. And we've got another kid who can make layups, but they can't shoot the ball. And that way, instead of like boring one player and getting one player better, we're getting them both better at the same time.
So multi-disciplined drills.
Yeah.
Is how you might call it.
Yeah, I guess, because I see so many skills trainers and coaches and it's like just practicing box outs or just practicing left-hand layups. And it's great, but they can also be getting better at so many things at the same time. So it's like the Mikan drill where you stand under the basket and you make a left-hand layup and a right-hand layup. It works. It helps. But there are so many other drills where you can work on your left-hand touch that involves movement and a behind the back and a spin move and a game-like action, whether it's a screen or a handoff.
So really, if you had an inexperienced or a less experienced coach wanting to construct that kind of plan for their training, they can start simple. Start with 3 things or 2 things in a drill.
Yep. And there's always ways you can build off of it as well. So like a lot of the stuff we do, especially if we've got a group and it's only 2 players, right? Then we might just use one ball. One player is setting a screen for the other. Player with the ball is handling it, coming off the screen tight. Okay, so you might look at that from an outsider's point of view and think, okay, well, the guy setting the screen is just doing nothing. He's just standing there. He's not getting better. But from there, we're getting him to flare out or we're getting him to pop or roll and then receive the pass and he makes the layup. Oh, but the guy with the ball's not shooting it. He's not working on shooting it right now.
No.
He's working on handling it, coming off a screen tight.
Yeah.
So you can work on multiple different things without, number one, the ball in your hand.
Yeah.
And without doing the same thing as someone else. And you can make it smooth and work together.
Yeah.
You see a lot of players who are in the corner or the wing. If they don't have the ball, they start like slowly creeping towards the ball. Like they'll just shuffle or slowly like move over just to be closer and be involved because they think if they're standing far away, they're just watching. It's like, you're better off being as far away as possible.
Well, you're an option.
Yeah.
And you've got space. And I mean, if you think about the game of transition, it's all about placement.
Yep.
You want to be where the ball can move down through the court.
Absolutely.
That's not crowded in under the key.
And you got to be
under the basket.
You can think about it in a selfish way of, if I'm open, I've got a better chance of getting the ball, or in just an unselfish way of, the further I am away, the more space my teammate has to go and score.
And also find me if they need.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like, 6 players all in the key, right? It's just messy.
And you're not going to pass the ball to them.
No, absolutely not. Because there's no advantage of passing it to someone who's a foot away from you.
And okay, see, that's a very practical piece of advice for players in this particular context of conversation, is that making space for yourself off ball is probably the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. So do coaches just need to talk that through?
I think so. I think a lot of kids don't understand the importance of it. And I think it comes from like when they have space and they haven't gotten the ball. Like lots of, especially young players, like they feel like they're not making an impact unless they have the ball in their hands. Right? So they want the ball in their hands. Whether if they just catch it and pass it straight away, they feel like they're involved.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're off standing to the side, they might not feel like they're doing anything.
All right. So for the greater good of basketball, what message can we channel here through our coaches, our developing coaches, that says, let's find a way to celebrate some of that off-ball movement?
That's a good question. It is.
It's like, well, Play HQ loves tracking points.
Don't even
fouls.
get me started.
Oh, look, there's so many people with very firm opinions on the statistics delivery.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's put an award at the end of our domestic or rep seasons, which says best placement.
Yeah. I mean, I think even just, I know it's hard and it's a whole separate conversation, but like the MVP usually goes to the person who scores the most.
Yeah.
But not to the person who got them available to score the most. Which is a whole separate thing that we could get into. But like it's hard because you, especially at junior basketball, and I know it's hard for the administration, organization, and the club and to be able to fix it. But they reward, I'm not going to say ball hogs, but they reward points, not necessarily good team basketball. And you'll find in junior basketball, it's not the NBA where everyone is ball dominant and everyone can score.
Yeah.
If you give them the ball in the NBA or professional, everyone can go and score.
Yep.
Junior basketball, you're going to have 1 or 2 kids who are really good with the ball, and the rest may not be. And they might, even if the MVP's out, they might not be able to go and give you 20 points, which is perfectly normal. That's not an issue. But that is,
So maybe that's what the message is that it's okay if you've got stronger players, but maybe the message is to make sure that we don't build the game around them.
Yeah. Yep. Because you want to have a situation where if the MVP is out, that the team can still function and still has a fighting chance to win. So
there's the message, isn't it? Is that team spirit, regardless of strengths or weaknesses in your players, matters. 100%. Well, look at what King's done with Phoenix.
Yeah, well, exactly right. That's a perfect example.
That's phenomenal. All right, so I think then let's wrap up with one more little word of wisdom from your perspective in terms of, I guess, just taking that step up in terms of you've got given our coaches something to hone in on.
Yeah.
Let's hone in on the weaknesses from the players' perspectives. We've said, you tell me what needs work, and we're going to work on that. You've told us that we can bring multi-dimension drills to help a broader sort of skill base up along the way. What would be that final closing thought on how to turn good coaches into great coaches, let's say?
Being able to understand people and being able to deal with and manage people in in a successful and positive way. There are so many coaches who fail, not necessarily fail a career, but fail the kids and fail the parents by not being willing or able to adapt.
Okay. In terms of the way they coach or the way they
coach.
Play the game, the way they coach the game?
I wouldn't even say not necessarily the way they coach the game, but the way they approach their communication with kids, with players, with parents. And actually, I take that back, like being able to adjust the way you coach, based on different skill levels and different needs.
Yep.
Because especially when you're playing junior basketball or you're coaching junior basketball, your job isn't to get them to win games. Your job is to develop them.
That's true.
The wins are nice, obviously.
I love the wins.
Yeah, but you can get handed a stacked team and win every year, or you can get handed a team that have never touched a basketball before, and they might not win for 5 years straight, but you've made them into very successful players and great people. Because you're not only developing players, you're developing people.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a few coaches that have shared that message around the absolutely incredibly pivotal role we play in terms of developing people. And I think, if they can't recognise the importance of that, then exercise caution in terms of coaching.
Yeah, and if you are a coach that has played before, every player has the one coach that they remember that they loved and that they despised. And that you want to be the one that is loved. You want to make the positive impact, not the negative impact. There are plenty of coaches that make kids quit at such a young age. And there are plenty of coaches who push them to be the best version of themselves and continue on.
Have we got any advice we could give to them in that respect? Listening,
yeah. Not being self-absorbed, not thinking it's all about you and about your success as a coach, and that the little things like kids smiling and kids actually having fun is more important.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it's more important. I would rather a team lose every game, but enjoy themselves and get better. And get better and grow as a person, than a team of kids with bad attitude, me being grumpy all the time, but we win every game. I think one is way more important than the other. Because at the end of the day, it is a game. Wins and losses doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It's true.
But developing people and making sure these kids especially, are having a great time and enjoying the game that they chose to play is more important.
I 100% agree, and that's been a commonly shared concept. I'm intrigued I know why I think winning is an important part of the game. How would you tie that? You're right. Wins and losses is part of it.
Yeah, I think
because if you don't have an objective to win,
well, yeah, there needs to be a certain amount of dog in you, right?
Yeah,
you need to have a certain, I don't know what you want to call it, a certain drive to win, because that's how you're going to bring the best out of yourself. Because one thing I notice about coaching is that sometimes I want it more than the player wants it for themselves. And that doesn't work.
There's the line.
Yeah.
You're right.
I can't want it more than you. And sometimes it's really unfortunate, but I do. Because there are players who could go so far, but they don't want to, or they're not willing to put in the work. I can't want it more than you, which is the unfortunate part.
This has been a really... Look, I hoped that we could provide some practical advice to our coaches, and I think that's exactly what we've done, because I'm going away from this with definitely a few things that I can share with my team in the upcoming season. So, Riley, this has been a really great chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for today's Fast Break chat on Coach to Coach. Thanks for listening. I'm Jace, and I'll catch you next time.